Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on this week's episode. I talked to you about travel woes that I just dealt with and having to go out into normie world for work. And I think that's something we all relate to because everybody does it. And, talk about my time out in LA and then also just curious things going on here with FTX um, going down and then also what's going on at movies plus as we sit here in bitcoin purgatory of 19 20,000 dollars in the midst of the bear market of 2022. So that being said, I want to thank our sponsor, the bitbox o2 hardware wallet. Go to shiftcrypto.ch/bitcoin made simple and use the promo code bitcoin made simple to get 5% off. And please, please, please protect your coins. Get your coins off the exchange. Do it ASAP as possible. So, yeah, get yourself a Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. Also, shout out to Upstream Data and their black box that helps keep mining quiet and helps mining become quieter and quieter to the point where nobody in the house can hear it. And then also Movies Plus, which I'll get into a little bit, but you're gonna want to sign up if you are not signed up already, which I don't know how you could not be. Um, you're gonna want to sign up. We got something coming out on Friday that is gonna blow the doors off, exclusive to Movies Plus, our first Movies Plus original series. What is it? We'll find out. I'll tell you about more. But yeah, the promo code is Cory, Cory, and you get yourself a little discount and enjoy Movies Plus for like $2 a year or $2 a month, um, which like is the cheapest platform possible. On top of that, uh, you know, in addition to the exclusive content we're getting and other stuff we're licensing, we also have we have a lot of content that you can see other more expensive places, maybe. Or if you maybe see something and you're like, oh, I'm going to watch it on Tubi. And let's just say on Tubi, the movie is 90 minutes long. It'll be take you 2 hours and 15 minutes to watch it. So do you want those 45 minutes of your life back? Then sign up for Movies Plus because there is no ads, no rules, just right. Who was that? Was that Outback that used to, no rules, just right? Outback Steakhouse. Yeah, I think so. No, yeah, because the other Australian one I remember was Foster's, Australian for beer. Uh, and then, I asked Luke whenever we were in Miami to throw me a Foster's, and he didn't know what I was talking about. Um, so, anyways, and that's kind of goes to, the psyop that is the corporate media marketing world that we live in. So they'll have like Foster's Australian beer. So Foster's will set up a company inside the United States and brew the beer here and send it to the grocery store or wherever you buy your beer. And that's where you buy it. And you're like, I'm drinking an Australian beer. And while it might be the same recipe, what have you, it is not indeed flying in from Australia, which makes sense. Like now, the one that makes less sense, this is the one that's really funny, is Labatt Blue. So if you've ever had a Labatt, a Canadian Pilsner, I believe. God, I wish I had started this with a beer in my hand because now I'm in the mood for it. And I'm not going to walk away from this important podcast. The most important things you ever hear in your life for the next 40 minutes is happening right here. Um, yeah, anyways, beer. So Labatt is, if you ever listen to hear the commercials for it or something and you're in the States, you'll hear, they'll be like, Labatt Blue, Buffalo, New York, blah, 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 at the end. Um, yeah, they just brew it in Buffalo because then you don't have to pay stupid tariffs and all that kind of stuff to bring it across the border. So that one's hilarious because it's literally on the other side of the river. But they're like, well, since you're on this side of the river, you don't have to pay taxes. And then everybody's sitting there going, look at me, I'm a big Canadian fan. I'm drinking Canadian beer. And now you're drinking American beer. that just has a Canadian label on it, and you pay the extra money for it, and the corporate media wins again. The power of the few over the many. So, anyways, I just got back from traveling. I actually took my uh, podcast microphone with me. I was going to record a couple episodes while I was out there, but as you'll find out, I didn't have time for that. I went out to the American Film Market, which is out in Los Angeles, um, California, Santa Monica to be exact. I guess that's technically still LA. I don't know. I mean, it's its own city, but hmm. Anyways, so I went out there for the American Film Market. I've been going to that for years and years and years. It's where buyers from all over the world gather to and distributors from all over the world gather to show their content, and the buyers look at it and go, I want that, I don't want that. So it's not like just like, oh, I mean, because nowadays it's just like there's not many platforms, and I mean, there's like Netflix and Movies Plus, obviously. um but the studios, but it's not like the studios walking around. It's like, it's really funny. It's like oddball territories, like literally every country. I think in total there's like 175 defined territories. um so like one's called Benelux, which is Luxembourg, what is Benelux? Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands, I believe. um so that's all grouped together, and then you'll sell the rights to like some TV channel, or there's somebody that goes out there and they buy all these titles and then turn around and take them and sell them to the TV channels. Um so yeah, it's interesting. And I used to be on the end of it of selling the content. But that has changed because Movies Plus, now I am there as a buyer, which is a completely different experience. So anyways, so I was going out there. I was going to be there for like 50, like 60 hours, just like crush meetings for a couple days, get back. Well, I go to the airport on Wednesday evening to catch my flight. I'm there a little early, go over, stop, get something to eat, start walking over to my gate. And when I get to my gate, there is just nobody there. It's about 21 minutes before the flight's supposed to leave. And I usually like to show up like 20 minutes before, because at 15 minutes, they close the door, but I always get there like between 20 25 minutes, because then I never understood like when people were like, I just want to get on the plane. They're the first ones to get on the plane. And then you sit there and sit on in the seat that you're going to be sitting in for the next, you know, 5 hours. So why do you want to rush to that seat? I'll take my time. Um, so anyways, there's no plane there. There's no people there. There's no employees or anything. And I'm just like, what in the world? And then this worker who is coming, walking with like those like little shopping cart things you can put your luggage on. He goes, "Oh, you missed it." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Well, what do you mean I missed it?" And he was like, "Yeah, they just they just pushed off, they not pushed off, it wasn't a freaking boat. It was a plane." He's like, "They're taxiing out to take off." I was like, "You're kidding me." He's like, "No, no, they thought everyone was here." I'm just like beside myself. I'm like, You've got to be kidding me. Like, this can't be happening. What in the HE double hockey sticks for all of you that are listening to this while you're driving with children in the car? Um, like, what is going on? Uh, so I mean, I'm like pounding on the door. I'm trying to make phone calls from like the little desk there where the gate agent should be. Nothing's happening. And the guy there, he's like, the only way you'll be able to talk to anybody is if you go to the front of the airline. Now, here's the part where you'll hear and go, oh, okay, you should have known this was coming. Because if you remember, I had a little bit of a trouble traveling down to Miami for the conference and had to book a last minute ticket, switch airports, and that was a disaster. And it was because I used Spirit Airlines in the spring, and I said I'd never use them again because they canceled on me at the last minute. Well, I booked Spirit Airlines this time because um I was like, well, it's the only direct flight from Pittsburgh to LA. So I mean, I don't do it that often. I should preface this with I haven't been to LA in 3.5 years. I don't know if you guys know there was this thing called a pandemic that happened and ruined everything. Yeah, probably like 3.5 years since I had been there. Um, used to have like Southwest had a direct flight, Delta had one. So I never had to rely on Spirit, but like you should play that game. You're like, is it worth it to get a direct flight to LA instead of or pay more money and have a more comfortable seat, but have to go connect somewhere? So I took the direct flight. My mistake. Never doing it again. Also, this podcast will never be sponsored by Spirit Airlines. I can assure you. Um, so, anyways, I get all the way back to their gate, and as I'm walking up to like, well, not the gate, I get all the way back through security. So that's how far I came. I came all the way from the terminal, all the way back through security, back to the front where you buy tickets. And there's like three poor Spirit employees just sitting there, and I'm like flying in, and I just said, "Just a warning, I'm coming in hot." I was so pissed, and explain the whole thing, and they're like, I was like, I need you to get me one of the carts right now and drive me out there on the tarmac and get me on the plane. I was like, because I have meetings all day tomorrow that I have to be at. It's like I don't know what to tell you. I'm supposed to be on that flight. And they're like, well, we couldn't get you because I mean, if the flight left, then it's gone. And I was like, well, according to the schedule, it's not supposed to leave yet. I was like, it's supposed to leave in 1 minute, according to when it was scheduled to leave. I was like, so that should let you know how early they left. They left the gate. I was like, because they left the gate so early that I had time to come all the way back here and tell you before they were even in the air. And they're like, I'm sorry, sir, there's nothing we can do. And, I mean, I knew there was nothing they could do. And I just was like, I said, all right, well, here's the deal. You're putting me on the first flight to LA. And they were like, okay, but that ticket's going to be, $400. I was like, you're joking, right? So they called the manager or whoever was out. They were like, well, we're going to call the person that was supposed to be out at the gate. And then that person's like, I guess they probably were like, oh, yeah, we kind of let them go early or something. So they're like, turn around. They're like, good news, sir. We're going to give you the ticket for free. You'll fly. It'll leave first thing in the morning. You'll connect in Las Vegas and then be in LA. So I'm looking at it and like it's supposed to land in LA at like 11:20. So I'm like, okay, I'll push all of my morning meetings to like I scheduled them for the most part half hour meetings with 15 to 30 minutes in between. Um Occasionally I had like, three back to backs and then a break. Um and and so then I said, okay, that could work. But I'm sitting there, I'm starting to reschedule my plans. I'm like, okay, I can move all the morning meetings, I'll get to LA at 11:30. It's like by the time I get to my hotel, it's going to be 12:30. So I can be at the conference like showered, ready to go and meet with people at 1 o'clock. It's like, okay, half the day is gone, but now I'll just push. I'll squeeze them into my open slots for the other parts of the day, for Thursday and Friday. And then anything I can, I'll push for after, because usually the meetings stop by like 6:30 or whatever, 7 o'clock maybe at the latest. I was like, I'll just go as late as I can in the evening. Um, so yeah, anyways, I like, oh, is there a way you can like comp me a hotel or something? Because I was like, I don't live close to the airport. Um, it's a little bit of a drive, and there's a hotel there. I was like, I'd love to just go in there and sleep for like 6 hours and then get up and get on this next plane. And they were like, no, we can't do that. So then, did you ever do this before where you're just so overwhelmed and mad about something that you just sit there and like can't do anything for like 30 minutes? Because that's what I did next. I just sat down in the lobby of this hotel attached to the airport, just just furious. Couldn't make up my mind as to what to do. And so after waiting a while, then I finally was like, all right, I'm not staying at this hotel. Like, I'm not, I'm going to drive, it's a little bit over an hour. I'll drive home and get some sleep. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll sleep in the car. Tried sleeping in the car, but that was super uncomfortable. So yeah, I drove home, got home, fell asleep on the couch for 4 hours, woke up and drove straight back to the airport, got on the next plane. If you're bored with this story, I apologize. While you're listening, just go get yourself a Bitbox O2 hardware wallet from Shift Crypto. But anyways, so then I go back, I get on the plane. Well, I'm walking up to the desk because there was something weird happening with my ticket on my phone, and so I go up to the desk, the gate agent right there by the, and I go, hey, I was like, I don't know if something's like not right with my ticket. It's not showing everything properly. And she goes, oh, thank goodness you're here. If you were 2 minutes later, I would have given your seat away to somebody that was doing standby. I was like, what? Um, and apparently when I went to check in on the app, on Spirit's app, it didn't check me in. She was like, yeah, you're not checked in. I was like, you're kidding. She's like, no, no, don't worry. You're good. You're good. Like, I got you in now. I was like, oh my God. Like, if I had missed 2 more minutes, if I had missed that flight, oh, I probably would have gone to the store. I would have gone to the store and I would have bought a couple very fragile things made of glass that don't shatter immediately, but would take some work to break. And then like an old cathode ray tube TV, an old CRT TV, the old box before HD TV. Get one of those, bring it home, and just beat the living crap out of it with uh aluminum baseball bat. That's probably what I would have done. Anyways, so she lets me on. And I get on. Oh, and then this is also what my wife realized. She's like, that's probably what happened with your first flight is that you checked in online and then they're sitting there like 25 minutes beforehand and they're like, everybody that checked in is here, so, might as well go. They probably didn't think I was coming. Um, so anyways, uh, I get to Las Vegas. Hurry up. I have 30 minutes to get to the next gate to take that flight. I get to that gate for the flight and they start boarding people. I'm like, boom, here we go. Like easy peasy. Only missed half a day. Where's the half a day's worth of meetings? Also would have been nice to have a better night's sleep in a hotel room than it would have been to sleep for 4 hours and then get back on a plane. So, anyways, I get there and then they stop boarding people and they go, oh, there's a problem. And there's a mechanical issue. We gotta delay the flight. So they start working on it. 3.5 hours later, they just decide to get a new plane and put us on that one. So I land in LA at 3 like 20. Get to my hotel at 4 and get to my first meeting at 4:20. Now, I love LA. I mean, it's sadly gone even more downhill. Um, I can get to that in a second, but I had 30, what was it? It was 35 meetings. I was in LA for 28 hours and I had 35 meetings. Um, I literally had meetings, went back to my room. I bought like one can of beer at the convenience store, grabbed a like Subway sandwich, went back to the room, ate the sandwich, and I was going to crack the beer and I passed out. Woke up, felt like I had a hangover, even though all I did was just not get sleep. So don't you love those whenever you're like, I didn't even get the reward. If I'm gonna feel hungover, I'd, if I'm gonna feel hungover, at least let me, go to town the night before, paint the town and everything like that. So that was fun. Got up, did a meeting with had a marketing meeting for Movies Plus. at the butt crack of dawn out in LA. And, I was like trying to not flip my schedule. So yeah, then right to meetings, meetings all day. Then got back to the hotel and just changed in my clothes, my comfy clothes, my travel clothes. Which, if you don't have travel clothes, you're doing it wrong. I see all the people taking their belts off. What are you doing? Pants with elastic waistbands, shorts. You wear socks with Crocs. That is my motto. No matter what airport I'm in. I was, I will tell you, it doesn't. People are like, oh, aren't you gonna get cold? I was in the freaking North Pole in the dead of winter, and I changed planes on the tarmac, walking wearing a t-shirt with basketball shorts, socks, and Crocs. My brother-in-law, who was with me at the time, he was just like looking at me like, "What are you doing?" Um, uh, but yeah, no, that was in not quite the North Pole, but I call it the North Pole for the kids. It was Iceland, changing planes one time in February. Yeah, and I was wearing shorts, and it was snowing so hard that that they had to run six plows down the tarmac or the runway, and then let a plane land, then run the snow plows back again, and then let a plane take off, and it was nonstop. But anyways, yeah, you got to be doing that if you're going to be traveling. Don't wear belts. Don't have shoes you got to tie. Just make it easy on yourself. But anyways, yeah, it was just craziness. And then I took the red eye back home, thinking I'd fall asleep on it. But apparently, Spirit Airlines has decided to fill their seats with a thin layer of foam, um, and underneath it, a nice, comfy pad of concrete. So I couldn't really get comfortable. So it was just a great trip all around. But the good news, I mean, sadly, what happened with LA is, I think like COVID has just destroyed California. I hope they can come back. Homelessness is a very big problem there, and nobody really wants to like provide a solution, which is, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the solution. I'm just saying, they're always running on a solution and they never actually provide one. Politicians, that is. So yeah, it looks even worse now. It'd be really tough to take kids there. Like, I wouldn't go to downtown LA, but even like Santa Monica, which is like, really like nice little part outskirts of LA. The people like strung out of their mind, like standing in intersections, just like MFing like public transportation buses or like cars, they're waiting at red lights. And I was just like, oh my God, like it was not this bad 3 years ago. Um, but the good news for those of you that are tired of the pandemic, this has to be a big sign. I mean, there's a couple signposts that the like whatever's going on with the pandemic, things are changing. Like, they have those Pfizer ads now for an at-home like oral treatment that you can take for if you have COVID. So I'm like, okay, I guess they found another way to make money off of you. So they're not going to just push the the jabbies anymore. Just saying it that way because I don't know what YouTube would do to this, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're doing that. And I was like, this is gonna be weird going from rural Pennsylvania to LA. It is going to be a much different atmosphere. But like, nobody wore masks on the plane. Nobody wore masks in the airport. Nobody wore masks anywhere. It was really refreshing to see. And and I mean, I was in like as blue a possible area as you could possibly be in, as pro lockdown as it could possibly get. I mean, like, literally, I was on the beach where they were like locking up or arresting surfers. Um, so yeah, I don't know. That was just my anecdote. And like, in the film market, it was like the regular film market. Everybody was meeting. Nobody was weird about anything. So it's like, oh, maybe us as humans will recover from this. We'll be able to pull out of this and get back to normal. So it's exciting to see that. And yeah. So anyways, and just it was also, I mentioned the normie world part. It is weird, like, you get so you think that like everyone else, especially in this work from home environment, which is what I've been for a long time, even pre-COVID, just out of necessity, because spread out all over the country. But you're in your own bubble. You're in your own Bitcoin bubble. And so that's what's one of the cool things about going to the conferences, which by the way, the Pacific Bitcoin conference is this week. And I'm really bummed that I couldn't stay, but I have, as you'll hear from Movies Plus, I have stuff that needed done. I just absolutely it was not going to work schedule wise. I have too much work to do that is time sensitive. So I couldn't stay. But that's the beauty of the Bitcoin conferences is that you run into other people that are in the Bitcoin world with you, and it's just like this wonderful experience where you're like, "Hey, what's up? We're on the same page here. The banks are screwing up the whole world. Blah blah blah. Bitcoin fixes this." Um, so that's fun. But yeah, the uh, get back to normie world and um, yeah, I mean, it happens anywhere, but it was weird. It was a stark contrast to the last time I wasn't a like Bitcoin maximalist the last time I was at one of these film markets. And now I was there as one. And it was like just weird to see how your perspective has changed on things. You know, all for the better. But anyways, also, I mean, I'm not mentioning them just because they're a sponsor, but and this doesn't necessarily mean custody of your keys, but do you see FTX is going down? I don't know the details. All I know is that guy SBF, Sam Bankman Freed or whatever his name is. That dude's seems to be a bad actor, doesn't he? I mean that's pretty obvious, but I, you know, it's just the weird part of the bear market that like it's weird when you come in like right at the beginning of the bull run, and then you just picture this like euphoria, and now it's like you get to see for the first time like, oh, this is what like the downtimes are like, this is what like the nitty gritty is like, where you just see, because when I was new to the space and stuff, it was like companies like BlockFi were talking, and you're like, ah, this company's gonna be around forever, um and like FTX and all this stuff, and they come selling these dreams, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, I think we could do this. um and then you just see that they're built on nothing. They have nothing backing them up. They're just an empty shell. So yeah, it's a shame to see that. Uh, for anyone whose money was affected there, but buy Bitcoin and put it in cold storage and do nothing else. That is the only strategy I have for you when it comes to Bitcoin and buying it. And do your best to just build during the bear market. Keep yourself busy. Don't make your whole life about Bitcoin because uh, whenever the price is sideways, like it has been now for what, like 8 weeks, it gets a little boring. I mean, there's not really a boring day in Bitcoin, but like, if you're in it for just the number go up, then you'll get bored really quick. I'm not in it just for the number go up, but you can't just be, unless your job is revolving around it. It's really hard to not get burned out. So um, that's why I'm hanging here. I'm talking to you guys because us Bitcoiners we're just trudging through the bear market so that we can be there whenever it bursts through the other side and tell everybody told you. Um, because if there's a group of people that love to tell people told you so, it's Bitcoiners. Um, but anyways, yeah. So Movies Plus, the reason I can't go to the Pacific Bitcoin conference is because we have our first original series releasing on Friday the 11th. So we're just slammed with marketing and technical stuff and making sure everything's good to go. But that series is called Q Sent Me. Q Sent Me is about the Q Shaman. If you are familiar with the Q Shaman, I will tell you right now who that is. Here I'll give you the official log line. Q sent me the untold story of the Q Shaman in January 6th. Log line: the exclusive story of the January 6th Capitol riots and the aftermath, told by the man who's the face of it all. And go into the deeper description. Jacob Chansley, the Q Shaman, QAnon shaman, has become the face of January 6th, 2021. You guys know who he is with the buffalo horns, the red and blue face paint, and all that kind of stuff. When filmmakers Jason Rink and Paul Escondon first saw the images of him sitting in the Senate wearing a fur pelt, Hans, and face paint, they quickly secured an unfiltered interview with him on January 7th. Q sent me is the untold story of that day and the aftermath with exclusive footage that's never been seen by the public before and will forever change your perspective on the events of January 6th. Um, so yeah, but I say when I say never seen before, I mean you are going to be blown away by the stuff you see in this documentary. It's a three-part docu series. First episode comes out on 11/11. That's this Friday, or it was in the past if you're listening to it in the future. But anyways, if you want to watch it, you'll the last episode comes out on wink wink January 6th. Um, and that's not to like stretch out like any drama or anything. It's just the director in is working full speed to get this out ASAP as possible. I say that too much, ASAP as possible, but it's such a good Michael Scott line. But yeah, he's working as fast as he possibly can to get it out. So we're just getting it to you as we can, um, and that's happens to be in chunks over a 3 month period. So the good news is you use the promo code Cory Cory, you will get Movies Plus for $24 for the whole year. So you really can't beat that. It's kind of a vote for free speech. I appreciate that. It is a vote for you believing in me and what we're doing at Movies Plus, sticking up for free speech. But yeah, it's $2 a month. Come on, you can do it. And there's a lot more original stuff in the pipelines that'll be coming out. But this one, holy cow! Like, I I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but the footage is so exclusive that the January 6th committee or whatever is has requested it, and the filmmaker, kindly said no, but said if you need to subpoena it, we will put it in a Dropbox on a hard drive at this location so that you don't come knocking down our doors and trying to find it's here in a safety deposit box. So yeah, I guess if they want to watch it, must be pretty good. And it's funny too because he's like one of the most recognizable faces in the world. Because he was on, he's like the poster child for January 6th. Um, Everybody has seen that picture of him, from that day. And I mean, it's gonna be in like textbooks. Uh, for however they're going to spin it or whatever they want to say about it. He's going to be in textbooks, that's for sure. And yeah, it, it's some shocking footage that you'll see. Uh, it's a different side to the story. I mean, he shouldn't have been doing the thing as he did, but you also feel kind of bad for him, which is probably where the left is going to get mad because the right's going to think that we paint them out to be like one thing, and then the left is going to be like, "You're making us feel empathy for this person." It's like, well, that's what movies do. You feel bad for him because you know he got wrapped up in this thing and everything. So, anyways, you guys are going to really like it. I'm really excited to see everyone's reaction to it and how people respond, and it's going to be exciting. Yeah, I think it's going to just take off and set Movies Plus on a new path. Uh, so looking forward to that. But yeah, been busy doing that. Still trying to do this once a week. I'm trying to find the time to pull in an interview or two or three here and there. And then also with Luke and with Phil, we're going to do News Made Simple on Movies Plus live stream, and then you'll get it here on the podcast as well. But if you want to watch the live stream, you got to download the app, and it'll be there available free for you to watch. Um, anyways, yeah, that's all I got for today. If you, uh, want to reach out to me, just Bitcoin Made Simple podcast at gmail.com. And get yourself a Bitbox O2 hardware wallet and secure your coins, get them off the exchange. And I will talk to you guys next time.